Good evening, everyone. This is The Warble. I'm your host, Matt, and I'm joined already on stage by, first of all, Voidoid. Hello, Void.
G'day, everyone.
And we've got Age. G'day, buddy.
Hey, Matt. Hey, Co.
And Chrissy.
Hey, Matt. Hey, everyone.
Okay, so Void, you want to go first? What are your thoughts on selection?
Oh, I can live with it. It's pretty much unchanged. It would have been nice if I would have preferred Pendles out. Pendles in for Sidey if they insisted on playing him. Harrison being managed, I guess, because of his being conservative about the deck at Marvel, perhaps. Yeah, Harrison being managed, I guess, because of his being conservative about the deck. My bad, Matt. You're
good.
That started playing by itself, but on the other browser. I don't understand why Jacob Ryan was in the captain's run. I thought he'd be. It got me excited that we might get to see him, or it'd at least be an emergency. I don't understand why he's not even an emergency. Hopefully, someone can clarify in the chat. They might know. Yeah, these are my thoughts.
A bit of ducks and drakes, I think. Keep us all guessing. What do you reckon, Age?
Look, I think we were speaking about it the other night, Matt. I think we're past this really slow team, and I think more and more people are starting to see it. So for me, I would have liked Sidey out for Pendles, or nothing, really, or nothing at all. The only other potential change that, look, I've been writing Membry for the last month or two, but he's actually been performing, so that's fine, as he should be. Look, really, the team probably doesn't deserve to get changed from last week. There was whispers that Swaddling was a bit sore. I would have rioted if he got bloody rested. Look, to be honest, I'm a bit disappointed Harvey Harrison's out, but look, there could be a number of reasons why that's the case, but I don't know. I just don't like replacing pace with a slow footballer.
Yeah. G'day, Stephanos. We were backstage. We were talking about this, Stephanos. It would have been better to just have no changes. Totally agree.
So that's interesting. From Andreas. Yeah, I would have preferred Ryan. I mean, I don't like Sully as an emergency. I thought we were sort of past that, but look, for the most part, we don't have a ton.
Harrison?
Yeah.
Sorry to catch off there, Void. Is he talking about Harrison, Josh?
Yep. That's what he's talking about. Yeah, I don't think it was for form Josh. I think it was probably something else. So he did have his best game. He was probably he's more a risk of omission probably 2 weeks earlier.
Yeah. So, finally plays a good game. Like we thought, oh, right, this guy's back. It must be the Marvel surface that they're worried about, which you mentioned earlier.
Yeah. Well, he's done. He's had been out for nearly 2 years. I'd be careful with him.
Yeah, I mean, what does it see? What happens if they put someone on the emergency list? It's a message to them that you're in our sights. You're close. So imagine how much of a slap in the face it is that Ryan does the captain's run. He's not on the emergency, and Sully's on there.
Yeah.
Ridiculous.
Like,
Sully for me
he's marked.
is if you have a lot of injuries and he's a good, reliable sort of depth player. If you're just struggling to get people into the side.
Yeah, absolute depth.
The deepest depth. not 24 to 26 player depth, more beyond that.
Yeah.
Well, that's what I don't understand. If we're worried about Harrison with the service, why aren't we worried about Penderbury with the service of Marvel? I don't get that part.
G'day, Manny. Yeah, I hope so. I hope Angry gets more game time. See, what is it with this giving the older players more game time and the younger players? Is that a sports management thing? Is that they think, oh, you haven't had enough pre-seasons? I would have thought the older blokes are more in danger of getting injured. I could have that wrong.
I reckon it's the former. I reckon that in their mind they're protecting young people, trying to build them up to the speed and pace and everything. My logic would be it's the inverted. It's the other way. I would think the older guys would need more conservative management within game. I mean, there's like Ed Allen was starting off at 60% game time, and he's one of the fittest players we have on the list.
Yeah.
I think they're being sometimes probably overly cautious and conservative with the way they slowly integrate, really gradually.
Yeah. Yeah, Sully had a good game, but I agree, Josh. But we know what he's got to offer in the AFL in the senior side, and he probably won't be at the club next year. So he's not really our future, old Sully.
No.
But he could do a job if we were really smashed by injuries. Sully could come in and he could do a job, get his 15 possessions, maybe kick a goal.
I just
He
the
has a
thing
go.
with him is I didn't.
Got
He
good
came
attitude.
he came in for that Brisbane game that we got smashed in, and I know that's not a fair game to judge anybody who came in for their first game that night. But I did see him jogging behind players a lot that night. Thought he was a bit more of a harder worker than that previously. So I don't know whether his injuries affected him or not. Yeah, Mallo's right. I reckon there'll be some sort of interesting sort of ins and outs the next few weeks because I reckon they're planning for the next block of games with their selection.
Yep.
Well, for sure. When you got 5-day breaks coming up, of course they will. They'll be resting players for sure.
My concern is that Sidey is still considered an automatic selection. So we will see him go out of the team, but it's to be managed. And then guys come in and do a really good job. Why is he an automatic selection? So Sidey, at this point of his career, if he goes out of the side, it's as depth. And if we have injuries, then he comes in. He at his age and how he's performing this year, he should realise that should be his role. Whereas Howie, same age, I think he might even be a bit older, but he's very close to our best defender. He's really contributing.
Yeah, exactly. I thought Howe might have been managed this week. I was surprised they played him.
Me too.
But he's obviously feeling okay, and yeah, he can go again.
Well,
So-
where would you rest him, Void? Adelaide or Carlton?
Probably Adelaide. If Carlton's still undefeated when we play them, then I think we want him to play against Carlton.
Oh, there's someone's. It's who's backstage? Ultimate. Shawnee, Ultimate Greatness.
Hey, fellas.
How you
Hey,
doing,
Sean.
mate?
What's going on?
It's all happening. What wisdom can you impose on the selection?
Actually, this is one of the selections I did see actually, which is a rare thing for me to do. I don't really know how to think about it. Like, it's not like, obviously this is going off the vibes that Harrison wasn't ready to go, and it was a bit strange given that, you know, he played so well, and now we're saying like he's basically managed. It does kind of feel like a little bit of like a Lipinski of last year type of thing. Like, just the second that they sort of get going, we're sort of dropping him. Because this whole talk on, you know, how you know, we're sort of playing players like the second they get into form, we're sort of like, you know, we're sort of dropping them because, oh, you know, they're fatigued and stuff like that. I just I just don't think I can buy that anymore. Like, if you're playing well, you should basically just play till you basically like break down at this point, I think. I know that there are going to be people that won't probably like that, you know, strategy, but I'm sure there's like some sports science behind it. But wouldn't it be better to actually play through the soreness and whatever he's going through? Maybe someone can clarify what he actually does have, if the club has like said anything. But I don't know. It's just really hard to trust the club at this point to really be telling us the actual truth.
Absolutely. Yeah, once you know you're being lied to over and over, you just question everything
You
they
guys still
say.
there?
Yep. Can you hear me, Sean?
Are you guys able to hear me?
I can hear you, mate. Can you hear me?
I can hear you, Shawnee. I know I can hear Matt too.
Yeah. Oh, okay. All good. Yeah, I've been having a lot of audio issues lately, so so then.
I'll just periodically be muting while I'm getting dinner sorted.
Yeah, no worries.
Is anyone talking?
Yeah. Sean, can you hear us?
I'll come back.
Okay. Now, I think fair enough if you want to you need to give Harvey Harrison a rest if that's what the club says, but don't bring in Pendles for him. That's the issue.
I agree
Bring in
with that.
another fast player, similar, like for like. Try again, Sean.
Yeah, so you guys able to hear me?
Yep, can hear you.
Yep.
Yeah, I can
Okay,
hear you.
yeah, all good.
Okay, good man.
Yeah, so just yeah. So in terms of what I said about Harrison, you guys all got that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We just
it's
sort
just-
of we expanded on it.
Yeah, it's just hard to sort of trust the club in terms of, you know, is this like an ACL thing? Is this like because obviously he's coming off an ACL, that is valid. To be a bit sort of like concerned, but I mean, you know, when you
I
have
think it's the
guys,
neck. It's the deck at Marvel they're worried about, I think.
And this is the chances of potentially doing an injury.
Fly even said in his presser, he said we got a number of injuries when we played here last year, so they're going to be. That's why they were training at a different facility.
Okay,
so
all right, yeah. Okay,
it
yeah,
might
no,
be
that's
something
actually
like
very
that.
fair then. Yeah.
Oh, because I remember we were going okay sort of last year. Then we played West Coast, and then even Charlie West got an injury after his first game. It's shit ground.
Yeah. Okay, well, yeah, that's fair. I can get behind that. It's more when it's like, when Swaddling's getting like, the like 50% game time and then he gets dropped. It's like, oh, but there was no way he could stay in this side and his match fitness was only so much. And it's like, well, then just play him more. Like it's not like he's Penderbury where he's like 4,500 years old. Just play him. Like, this is a 19-year-old kid at probably not the peak of his powers, but in terms of fitness and availability, it should be pretty high up there. Like, yeah, it's just hard to sort of trust the club that we're sort of like making the right calls.
Without the sub this year, you can sort of manage game time with people if they don't have the tank. So I think it's actually easier to have a couple of guys on there who can just, I don't think they'll need to play heaps of game time if they're not up to it.
Yeah.
So I think they could, like even Anderson, like if he's just going to be a bit of an impact player at this point, if he can't run out like full games, then so be it. If you just put him on for 5-10 minutes to really do maximum damage.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, but that's like literally having a look at the list, seeing what the list can do, and then maximizing the list. I just feel like I get a bit of an indication that we tend to not do that as much as we should. And I guess only seeing the performances will only tell us, if that is true or not. But it's just, when you see even someone like Swaddling, like what's like, I just don't understand why, especially when you see him get 20 disposals or 53% game time. What is the difference between him going from 50% game time to 80%? I mean, obviously there's a reason why they're doing it, otherwise they wouldn't be doing it. But is this something, because I feel like when it comes to game time, I have obviously, heard that term like before, obviously, but I feel like it gets mentioned so much this season, probably because of the extra spot on the bench. Because there are players that are sort of maybe a bit wary of like their time on ground because it's probably not like completely locked in as much as it was last season. Because I think at the end of the day,
80% now. Ed's gone from 60 to 80 over the last 4 weeks.
Good. Yeah.
So few clubs are chasing Bailey Williams from West Coast.
Oh, we need him.
Yeah.
We need him.
They've got him on tally right now to clunking marks in the defensive goal square.
DC has been liability. God. I mean, the whole thing with DC, we sort of accepted he's not a great ruck. He's decent around the ground. Not a great ruck in the centre. We accept that, but okay, he's going to do better in the stoppages around the ground and marking in defence, intercept marking down the line. Now he's not doing that.
Yeah.
When he does take a mark, he's really shaky with the ball as well. Like, God.
Yeah.
Handball it. Someone run behind him and it's such an easy possession when your ruckman takes a mark. Handball it to someone running. But they're not running for him.
Yeah. I feel like with also Cameron as well, when he's out of contract, when he's out of confidence, he's definitely out of confidence. I don't think he's the guy where if he's feeling it, it's like, he's feeling it. Like he goes from like 0 to 100 real quick. Or 0 to 1,000, whichever the terminology that works. Because, and this is just my observation, and I mean, I have spoken to him briefly before. he comes across as a guy that has like a lot of anxiety, like around. But mind you, this was like pre 23. Oh no, I think it was maybe just after 23. Where when I was like speaking to him, you could kind of tell he was sort of always nervous to like talk. But
Mm.
I don't think that was anything more than that was just like the way he was. Like, that was just who he was, I guess. He was always just like a nervous sort of operator, which is fine. Like there's plenty of guys that are nervous and that they do become really good footballers and stuff because the talent just takes over. Um, but it is a bit of a concern once you do have someone that's um, so much in the realms of that like sort of anxiety sort of standpoint. You sort of do look at it in terms of like, okay, is that also affecting him? Because he knows he's probably having a bad season. Is it sort of like a thing where, because he's maybe feeling a bit guilty that he's sort of in his mind, and a lot of people with anxiety, if they do have it, they're very harsh critics. Like I know, like I'm definitely one where I'm a very harsh critic of myself. Not to say I'm playing AFL, but whenever I'm playing sports, like I'm a very harsh critic of myself. So when it comes to the mental health aspect, I think that's potentially playing a part in it too.
Mm.
Um, and then also, the fact that you also won like the best and fairest, like whether if we look at that as like a good thing or even a bad thing because of how Fly was treating Nick at the end of it, saying that Nick was a worthy winner. There's
Mm.
there's so many factors you could even like put into it in terms of what
Yeah,
the
I forgot all
situation
about
could
that.
potentially be. Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
I was so pissed off when I heard all that. And, especially when you have DC, who's been an absolute, you know, workhorse, all especially all last season.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was really disappointing the fact that why couldn't just keep his mouth shut and just say, "Hey,
Yes.
DC, you've had a great season." It had to be,
Yeah.
"Oh, no, I
Just
think they got to win it."
you had to
Especially
suck
when
up
you
to
have
Nick.
DC, especially when DC is such a again, I don't. I'm going to preface by saying this. I don't know DC that well. Obviously, this is only just over a few conversations, but you can definitely tell there's a lot of anxiety within his like demeanor.
Mm.
And that's not to say that's not to make it a bad thing or to make it a situation or anything. But again, being sort of in that ecosystem myself and how tough it can be when you do have it. Um, it is a thing of like, yeah, once you do sort of get like a leg up, um, it, it's it's yeah, it becomes such like a factor going forward, I guess.
Mm.
Yeah, I agree, mate. I've had lots of issues, similar issues, crippling issues like that throughout since I was a teenager. So I
Mm.
sympathise.
Yeah, but it's also AFL as well, so I feel like a lot of the AFL standards even are just like it's just so because it's such a high standard. Like that's also I feel like that becomes like another level entirely. Because if even for someone like DC, you've taken the with the rock rules, I'm sure that would have had its effect as well. But then you've also got um, what's it called? Yeah, it just comes. I guess it just comes down to the basics of just like you have a guy with anxiety, and he's having such a hard time this season, and especially when he's coming off like a best and fairest year, like yeah, all you can do is just feel like sort of like feel for him because
Mm.
and I know this is like saying the obvious, but like no player wants to be shit, let alone someone with anxiety. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, he probably starting to feel useless, because
Yeah.
he's lost his effectiveness,
Mm.
and he's starting to sort of it's probably playing on his mind, knowing that that's tough, and
Yeah,
because he
and that's
to
the
go
thing because also
from
as
the year
well.
he had last year to
Yeah.
this, it's obviously not entirely his fault.
Yeah.
The issue is you're divided because you're caught between the human that's in
Yeah.
question and than winning. The fans kind of move magnets, you know. We do it like it's a fantasy sort of league, you know, but we always do probably occasionally forget about, you know, whatever's happening psychologically.
Yeah.
I've still got hope that he can train some other aspect into his game next year. Won't happen this year, but you never know. If he's determined enough, I'd like to think that he can work with someone to try and overcome, you know, his lack of leap, and to try and win these contests some other way.
We need
Yeah.
someone dynamic like a Jeff White to go in there.
Because what did we sign him to, Sean? We signed him to how many years last year?
I can look it up real quick. It wasn't on much money though. It was on only like 700 or because that was like the whole. Down on my phone.
Interesting to see how he'll go
Yeah.
against Sherry, who's a similar type.
He'll only struggle when Trembath goes in because the North are having the same issue. So North have been throwing Trembath into the ruck a lot more.
Yep.
They've really fucked teams over here. Like the fact that so many clubs across the league now are having to find guys other parts of their list to basically jump into the ruck, rendering like their main guys useless.
Yep.
He signed 3 years, so end of 2029.
Okay. So we're gonna have to find something for him to do till then.
Would you guys consider just gifting them the centre clearance, like apply an Allen or a Long or someone, a big midfielder like they do with Cripps, and just say, okay, we're going to lose, we're losing the ruck, but let's have 4 midfielders.
Yeah, it's a tactic at the end of
Almost
the day.
like you just go, we're losing it, but just smash into him. Smash
That's what
into
I've
him.
been saying all along.
Yeah, I think you could.
And then jump down, and now it's
Yeah.
four mids onto 3 and a ruckman.
That's what Richmond did. Richmond in
Yeah, I
their
was about to
premiership
say, yeah.
era, that's what they did with Grigg. They lost. They knew they were
Yeah.
going to lose all the ruck contests, and they just roved opposition taps.
Yeah.
It's the reason we're starting to be able to do that more now because you've got guys like Ed in the middle. Whereas the reason they were walking it out of the centre earlier is because we had too many slow coaches in the centre. So we couldn't actually win the ball back once it was tapped.
Yeah. We seem to be going a lot more one-on-one, even like Dacos is like manning up, so that they don't get easy runs out of there. And then we can sort of, we can push off our man and so be defensive, but then ready to go when we can.
Yep.
So even though DC is really having a hard time, we seem to be adjusting even though he's not.
Yep.
Yeah, I agree. We're not getting nutted in the centre anywhere near as bad. What I like this week, the more I've been thinking about it, that second half against Gold Coast, the statement that our captain on the night made, one of our captains, I think that it was a line in the sand game for our season.
Yeah.
And they came out in that second half. It's like this. We're not fucking going down this year. It's not going to continue what's been happening till now. And I really think it was a turning point. I hope I'm right, and I hope if it continues this week, I just want this group to get together the way Geelong did in 2006, 2007. They got together and decided this ain't happening to us. We're going to get our shit together.
Yeah. What I wanted Fly to say this in the press conference, or along the lines of, it's not nice to get fines, but sometimes you got to draw a line, and you got to ask, is the price worth it? Is the price that we paid worth it? And the spirit that we saw from our team and our boys going in for each other, sticking up for each other, flying the flag, I think that price is absolutely worth it, because you saw how together they looked and how pumped up they were. It's the most spirit we've shown in 2 years, 3 years.
Yep.
That's what I wanted to hear from Fly.
Yeah.
So
100%.
PC these that's what is he gonna? Is Fly gonna get fined for saying that? No, it was bloody real and emotional, and they looked connected and they looked to have spirit, and I thought, yeah, this is great. Yeah, you're gonna get some fines, but is it worth the price? Absolutely.
What I like about him is I know that that's what he'd be telling him to do. Like he as a player, he was a pretty tough little rover as a player as well. And I know that he would have loved that. And I want him to be telling our players more of that endeavor, more of that physicality, more of that aggression. Because that's really what's kept us being a pretty competent side for a few years, is our pressure. That's the one thing you don't need talent to be able to do. Put on pressure. You just need people that are just willing to do the work. And I don't know. I look at our team and I'm like, nah, they're still buying in. The fact that they could get a response like that out of our side, got Nick and even Nick was swearing coming off the ground at halftime. They released some audio today, from that little stoush, and Nick was swearing and giving it to the crowd as well. So I love that. That type of buy-in we've got. You don't. That's why I'm not really worried about the group. Like, they're still playing for the coach. They're still playing for each other. Whereas you look at Gold Coast's response, Gold Coast didn't really look like they were playing for their coach.
No.
Or each other.
Yeah. Well, it's kind of like with cricket, like how, what was it, Steve Smith when he was over in England and on a really tough pitch, and ended up making a ton. I think it was also when Jofra tried to bounce him. That was one of the most toughest sort of hundreds that I've probably seen in my sort of like lifetime. And yeah, it's not this like sort of like, score where it's it's like 300 or whatever. But sometimes you just need that tough, that tough 100. I feel like with this group, it just shows a lot of character that, this game was probably really tough. They probably put a ton of pressure on themselves to perform, and they came up with the goods. It's because I think the other thing that we need to put into perspective when it comes to AFL as a whole, we need to just focus on ourselves, and then as long as we focus on ourselves and focus on our results, then everything will hopefully turn our way. So if we're focusing on our wins, making sure we're winning, obviously we can't win every week, but have the intent to win every week. And I think that with performances like this, I don't think we. We're obviously not suffering from a performance like this. In fact, we're definitely going to get improvement out of it. Because there's also like the belief, there's like, so many factors that sort of go into it.
I reckon that elbow to the ribs might have been the making of our year.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I agree. Yeah,
because that's what I love. I love, and then you saw Billy Frampton. You saw how everybody responded, and I just think that was the most galvanizing moment. I just felt like all year we've been looking for a circuit break, because it's been kind of a bit of a flat season for us.
Yep.
Hasn't been it hasn't been awful, but it never felt like it got going, and I feel like
very
that
numb.
when it got going. Because
Completely
we've been
agree
far
with
from
that.
awful this year. Like, the difference between our best and our worst is usually not that great. That's why we don't lose games by much when we do lose very often. So it's not like we've been far away. We just felt like we were in kind of, not going. We're sort of sitting in second gear a little bit. Yeah.
Well, the question I was going to ask, Voidoid and you, Sean, getting back to Bailey Williams, do you know if we're into him?
Oh, I mean, how are we to know for sure? But I mean, I hope so. Like, it's definitely something that needs to be addressed. Because as much as I'm trying to, sit here and show support for DC, but but it's but it just seems like it's having DC being what he is as you know, as a jumping ruckman, like it's just not a tenable
Yeah.
thing for him to like do. So something has to change, and you have to get someone. Steen's out for however long he's out for, so he'll probably come in maybe midway through next season. Any sooner will probably be a bonus. So yeah, someone has to do it, and we have to go get someone.
Yeah, we don't have good ruck stocks, at the moment. And
Oh, it was terrible even with the minute. Like,
yeah, it's pretty thin. And it's Co, we probably won't be there next year. Smith,
I'd be very surprised
I
if he was.
see things in him, but he's still kind of, we don't know. Jury's out. We need to get someone, and because we also don't know how he's gonna come back from that injury. Bailey Williams, like the fact that he's not going to cost you a trade, because I really don't think West Coast will match.
Yeah. Are we that proactive though? That's my concern. Are we that proactive to go, hey, Bailey Williams seems like the very obvious free agency choice? I'm sort of worrying that maybe we don't kind of go down that path. We sort of go to the draft or something like that. Like we go to like a rookie pick, or we sort of go down the route where, even though that, basically like a free agent, you basically get the guy for free outside of salary cap reasons. But it just kind of seems like an obvious choice to go get someone like that. But I feel like if I had to put money on what they would do, it'd be probably to go to like the rookie draft and find someone there that's like 24 years of age, and that's maybe someone in the waffle sample, something like that. I guess probably going and getting another co, but in the Steam version, if that makes any sense.
I'd even like them to. He doesn't have a tank, but if you just want someone to do center ruck sort of work, you could even, try and see if that guy from Werribee, that Mun. I think he's got potential if someone could work with him, like, and do a proper preseason. Because he's only like 20 or 21, and he's a monster who can jump. Even a left field sort of pick like that on a guy, that type of guy, who's kind of limited in scope, but you could maybe turn him into a decent, just a jumping ruckman.
Yeah, but I feel like something like that, that's like, it's too. Like, I feel like we need to be
Great
bolder
mix
with our
sucker, we
takes.
call him.
Like, I just feel like we need to be a bit more bolder with our choices.
Yeah. Oh, look, if I had my way, I like Bailey Williams. I didn't rate him. I didn't rate him until this year, but like he's the making of one player has been the death of another.
Yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, as long as we get someone in mold, I just don't see I just don't see the Werribee player as that option. Because I just think that outside of that, I just don't think he has because in terms of his fitness definitely needs to improve like 1,000 times over. Especially like the dude look, especially against us, and that's only our VFL side. It looked like he was about to just die of a heart attack because he's running so much.
Mm.
If he's struggling at VFL level, well then he's definitely going to struggle at FL level. So that's probably like one of my biggest concerns there.
You just need a pre-season and to just to work on it. I think fitness doesn't
Yeah,
worry
but
me
is
that
one
much.
preseason going to fix that though? Because in terms of that, we're trying to we need a guy now. We don't I could potentially get around the idea if the club was for it and it's like, hey, this is like our guy in say 3 years time because he'll have 3 preseasons. That's like okay, that's a bit more realistic. But getting a guy in like that off one preseason and then having him to be like not the main, well, yeah, probably even the main guy because that's what we need. We need a main guy.
You'd have to see him up
Yeah.
close and see if it's something he can get past or not. Because I do think if you only had him in centre, just to mainly do centre bounces, that was my thought. Not to have him,
Yeah.
not necessarily doing around the ground stuff, but if you could just have him to be a relief ruckman until Steen's back. But I'd prefer Bailey Williams because he's a proven player at AFL level.
Yeah, 100%.
But yeah, I could
Yeah.
see them getting an SSP as well.
Yeah, as I said, I just don't see us. Yeah, I just don't see us getting someone like Bailey Williams. Whether if that's because we're just not interested, or whether if we, But then again, I guess if O'Brien is like, hey, there's this guy, this guy, this guy, and this guy that I rate, then I guess you can't, I guess, necessarily fault the club for that because if you're not backing in someone like O'Brien to recruit someone like that in a draft, then there's no point in being at the club anyway. So yeah, it's just such a.
Played yet? Has Caleb May played yet? Has he debuted yet for the? I don't think he has.
I'm not sure.
I saw some article about Aiden Begg the other day.
Yeah, he
wherever
went to
he's playing
Tassie.
now.
He's
Yeah,
playing.
that's
He's
right.
on the Tassie list now.
That's right.
Yeah, as crazy as it sounds, so he would have been a godsend if he stayed on our list this year.
Yeah, he'll probably end up back on an AFL list at some point.
Oh, he's literally on Tassie's list. He's
Only main list, not their VFL side, actually there.
I
Okay,
believe.
gotcha.
Oh, I could be wrong, but he's. Well, I think it's like both because isn't the Tassie that's in the VFL is just the Tassie team in general.
No, I think it's different, but I could be wrong.
Because obviously, they're not going to have their superstar talents yet because they haven't entered the AFL drafts.
But you're nothing
Either way.
fans, Nick. How you do it? How are they? Are they like? Are they gonna have a crack at us Pies tonight?
Wait, who's this?
Oh, Mick's got some North supporters on the stream tonight, and he said they're a bit feral, Mick.
That's all right. Oh, have some entertainment.
Yeah, look, either way, just to touch back on the Oscar Steen conversation, I think we've got to resign ourselves to the fact that I don't think he'll play a single game next year.
Yep, that's
might
possible too.
might get back from some VFL late in the year, but I can't see them pulling the trigger on him, later in the season. You never know; he could be a really quick healer or whatever. But Ruckman with that injury is just another level. So they've got to figure it out. And Void said SSP. I reckon that's the route they'll go. They'll pay someone $200,000, some jumping ruckman, help out DC. DC will still play unless we trade him or some shit. He'll still play. He'll go back to his old role under Mason Cox, where they sort of share that ruck duty. That's the only way forward. cannot go another year with the current setup as it is. Cannot. It's diabolical. And McStay's actually been very serviceable for us in there as well, and it's still
Yeah.
been pretty diabolical. So imagine if McStay was not performing in there, like it'd just be absolutely dire. Because yeah, the clearance numbers have actually looked good the last couple of weeks, but that's not sustainable long term, and not against better quality opposition.
Mm. The other thing as well, just as a vibe check, since McStay's been doing more ruck, has his goals been affected by that as well? Do we know that for a fact? 'Cause I was just sort of thinking about that just now. Is that because he's been in the ruck more, has it affected his goals and stuff? Well, I guess he kicked 3 on the weekend, didn't he? So I guess no.
McStay's had a quite really good year. Really good year.
Yeah.
I know he's a number one whipping boy for a lot of people, but structurally, he's very, very super important, and it's as simple as that. But he's quietly had a very good season.
Yeah.
But you won't hear people talk about it, which is whatever. He's been forever injured, but now he's getting continuity, and he's actually playing really good footy.
Yeah.
You know, even crunching a few packs, which is what my biggest. That was my biggest. I'm not going to say. I'll just say gripe. My biggest gripe on him was always the fact that you never saw him splitting packs or anything. He wasn't that sort of forward, but he's even started to do a little bit of that. So, yeah, I can see him being
I
like,
love McStay.
yeah,
I really do. He's
Yeah,
he is what he is, but he's got tremendous work rate, and sometimes he can kind of, you know, I get he was frustrating in parts earlier in the year, but geez, he's the way he. The reason he's important is because, well, he's an AFL player, like a proper bona fide AFL player. He knows exactly where to lead in the forward line, how to drag defenders out, how to create space. Like that's the sort of stuff I like from his game as well. In addition to the goals, and if he can get up the Buller, allowing him to get up the ground has helped him tremendously. I reckon that his best games have been when we've had someone else deep forward.
yeah. Provided Bulls giving a contest, which he sort of has been against lesser opposition. Yeah, it allows him to stay a little bit more freedom. But yeah, Buller does need to take another step as well. I think they're giving him every opportunity as well. So I've resigned myself to the fact that West purely just isn't ready. I still would have played him earlier in the year when given the opportunities to, but I think it's clear as day now that the coach or whoever they don't think he's ready for this year. So yeah, look, you just got to persist now. They've got the forward line mix that they obviously want in terms of the tools. M-Pod had his opportunity. He already screams of one of those guys that's way too good for the VFL, maybe not quite at AFL level, hence why he never got there in the end. Yeah, look, this is obviously the mix that's going to stay for a little while now. And look, as long as Membry's kicking goals, like I said, he's fine to be in there. As long as McStay's chopping out in the ruck, which he's pretty much the only option. Buller can't ruck. That's fine. He's a lock, and really, it's only Buller who's the one that has to just bloody compete every single week. Because yeah, I think he's the one most likely to miss if he has a few poor games. But
Yeah.
is he still a better option than M-Pod? Probably. He's younger. He's probably got more upside. You know, they just gotta somehow squeeze this list into finals this year and then just hope for an absolute miracle. But I think the mix looks okay right now.
Yeah, I think McStay. I think he gets at this stage. I think he'd give him another like a 1 year or so beyond 2027. He's not.
How
I mean,
old's
he's
he?
what?
29, 30?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just the injuries that would hold him back. But yeah, I reckon you've got to probably give him at least. I reckon at least 2. I reckon if you don't give him 2, I reckon he's extremely gettable from someone else, you probably have to give him 2, I reckon.
Yeah, it probably depends on the money too. If you could space it out, that would make it a bit easier.
Because he's not on very much anyway. He's only on, I think,
Yeah.
600.
Yeah, and he does sort of seem like the type of guy to also help the club out. So even though he might be worth say 800, he might be able to hey, like, just put me down for 650.
And unlimited
Whereas-
Pokemon downloads.
Yeah, just put it in Pokemon Go points or whatever it is.
I just don't know how to feel about that. Oh, good on him, I guess.
Could you imagine if someone actually comes over through free agent? Like, hypothetically, I don't even know if Bailey Williams has any interest, but imagine if we get him like COD points or something, or like Fortnite bucks to get him over. That'd be hilarious.
It sounds
I
stupid,
just-
but half of
yeah.
these blokes are addicted to video games and shit.
Yeah.
Didn't Jamie Elliott used to have a Twitch stream or something?
Yeah, he did.
That's right.
Yeah, Aiden Begg had one.
Yeah. Like these
Yeah.
guys, you just so much fucking free time. It's ridiculous. So that's the sort of shit that they actually are interested in. And they're very insular. They have to stay, other than play golf or go to a cafe, most of the times they're just staying inside. So, it's not like the good old days where they just go out and get pissed or whatever. Now they actually have to sort of rest themselves and that. But yeah, it sounds stupid, Sean, but you're probably onto something there. Wouldn't surprise me if that sort of shit is the sort of stuff that gets discussed amongst players and that.
Yeah. Yeah, just be like, oh, in your next contract, how much Fortnite bucks did you get? Oh, I got 10,000. Oh, seriously, I only got 8,000.
What do they call them? V-Bucks or whatever?
Yeah, V-Bucks.
That's
Yeah.
the one.
I'm not even that old. I'm not really that old. But I haven't played video games for so long that I've just sort of, it's so funny. I'm completely out of touch.
Yeah.
I might as well be 90, but
I haven't played video nothing for like 5 or 6 years, but I'm gonna jump back on board when GTA 6 comes out, Sean.
Yep. Yeah, well, at the moment, PlayStation's copping some heat at the moment because they're taking out the discs, the CDs in the cases.
I read that.
They're gonna go,
Yeah,
they're gonna
that's
go all digital,
ridiculous.
and Sony's been copping a shit ton for it.
Yeah, I'm not into that stuff because I've still got physical media here, like books, CDs, or vinyls, Blu-rays. I like to own shit. I don't like to rent shit. It's like, and that's why I was going to get back into playing some. I was talking to a female gamer friend from overseas, and I said, "Oh, tell me how do I get back into this?" And she said, "Oh, well, you need to upgrade you need to upgrade this, you need to upgrade that. Oh, and you can't really, most of it's subscription based. So no, I'm out. I don't want to do that."
Yeah, no, it's a whole new ball game now.
They did that to me with Adobe. Because I used to have the Adobe suite, for work, and at that time, and then they changed it to a model where you're basically paying 30 or 40 a month just to rent it. And I just like, nah. Let me buy the discs like I used to, whether they might cost $900 or something, but at least like I've got them.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think people are tiring of it because like Vinegar Syndrome's are like a prestige sort of movie label. They do really prestige re-releases of cult movies and things like that. And there's a huge amount of customers that want to own nice artwork, nice packaging, It's like, and so you wouldn't believe how popular that companies like that are at the moment when they're
Absolutely.
offering you the choice. Yeah, exactly. Like I would have thought, who would choose quality over convenience? But I think people are tiring of it because the streaming services have just slowly started to make it like at first it was fun and everything was on there, and then they start to just sort of squeeze you. Then the
Yeah.
content gets shittier, and then they start
Yeah.
calling it content, which they shouldn't. Call it films or shows. Content to me is just like the corporate word to cheapen and to devalue everything that's in the world. Just all gets
Yeah.
reduced to content, you know. So yeah, it's like
Yeah. But yeah, I think it's what was it, the start of 2028. The Sony's not gonna do any physical media. The January of 2028. So it's all gonna, which is kind of strange because I'm sure they won't, lower the prices and all that when it comes to the digital store. Because it's actually more expensive to buy a game on the digital store than it is the physical. But if
Yeah,
you buy
absolutely.
physical, you have to buy the cases that cost money. The CD obviously costs money, but then the physical media part of it's cheaper. So how does
that's
that
And
work?
this way sounds stupid. This way sounds stupid. You got to now go to a store, get a code, or just download it. Sounds stupid.
See, Norton,
Well,
Norton antivirus.
mm,
See, this is the thing
yeah,
that really pisses me off. I've had Norton for a very long time, but they offer you a chance to auto renew for the following year, and then I did it at first a very long time ago, and then I noticed that the auto renews like $100 more than going into the store to buy like an actual physical copy to
mm,
upload onto the computer.
Wow.
I mean, how does that work? Like, it
Yeah.
surely saves on packaging and everything else. How's this? So anyway, I still do it to this day. You go into Officeworks once a year and just buy this little cardboard thing with the codes on it, and that's like $80 versus nearly 200 to auto renew.
Yeah, wow. They're getting you on the convenience side.
Yeah,
That's the thing. You would understand if the digital only of anything was like that 20% cheaper to reflect, less in the supply chain, then you'd be like, all right, at least I got the option. I've got the cheap option of obviously just digitally doing it and the convenience of that, or I can be old school and still have my physical copy, and I'm willing to pay a premium for that. Instead, they, like you said, in that instance, they're charging you more for the digital for the convenience of it rather than, yeah. I mean, they just got it. They got it all figured out, mate. They know that most people are lazy and they're not interested, and that's it. Click a couple of buttons, off you go.
and you
But
got to be careful too with streaming, because they've made certain films unavailable gradually. Like I know with like Disney, I don't have that, but when they bought 20th Century Fox's film catalog, they've started to just basically discontinue movies. So they're pretty much not available anywhere anymore unless you have an original DVD from 20 years ago.
yeah, wow.
You can't actually get it, and that's why I don't like the idea of doing it, because then if at any point if they decide to discontinue something, you can't get it anymore. I just know that the sort of games that they end up playing, especially like with movies, they might object to something about a movie from 70 years ago, and they're, oh no, let's pull it. It's controversial. No,
Yeah,
I want to have a copy. Yeah.
yeah. And that's the other thing. They remove scenes or, all that sort of shit as well. Yeah, you're right. They've done all those shenanigans in the past, or certain things are just not available, no matter how hard you find them. So, yeah, it's just, they know what they're doing. They just get everyone onto the monthly payments, and that's it. And then next thing you know, you got 7 or 8 bloody things that you got to pay for just to be able to watch, a thing here or there, and they never have the full library on it. They chop and change it here and there. They're all in cahoots with each other, I'm convinced. So, it's just how to maximize the dollar out of everyone.
Yeah, exactly. See, like if you guys don't have it, like even the streaming things like Tubi and Canopy's one you use. If you join any library, local library, suburban library, you just basically enter your library sign in, and you get access to Canopy. It's like it's got more cultured and cult sort of stuff on there that you might, anything that's kind of culturally relevant because it's part of the library service, but it's free. Canopy's another free one. There's some pretty good free ones out there now. But even the other day, I was looking at rewatching The Golden Girls. I just felt like watching an old episode. It used to be on Stan, and then I went on the other night. It's been taken off because now Disney owns it. So it's been moved to Disney, and so I'm lucky that I had 4 or 5 DVDs of that series here.
Well, how do you feel about that, Sean, that they're going to take away that you can't like do games anymore at the game shop? You have to download it and you have to get like the code. How do you feel about it?
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of strange because as much as I'm sort of sitting here being like, yeah, it feels like it's a bit of an issue, I'm also, in a weird way, I'm also kind of upset because, like, yeah, I can't even remember like, physically, which is buy it off, PlayStation store, whatever store, online store that there is. Um, so as much as I sit here and go, yeah, and all the concerns are extremely valid, the games and stuff, but at the time, like, yeah, if it's like for me, it's like, well, I've been living this life gone that I've already been down that path at least 5. Like I don't have too much of a leg to stand on it because I have been living that life anyway. But in saying that, like just to have that option physically, yeah, I think it should be always an option. I don't think it would affect me.
I think your sound's cutting in and out a bit, Sean.
Yeah, you're a little
Well,
bit choppy there, Sean.
It'll affect me because, like Sean was saying, it'll affect me because I always buy games from the game shop. I've never done a code. I've never done through an app. I've always gone to a game shop. It'll affect me really bad.
I can see them still doing like the physical stuff in terms of like you'll get the case instead of you getting a CD. It'll just be like a little pamphlet. Here's the code. Put it into possessions. Whatever. I can see them doing that. So they'll still market you maybe a physical box. They won't do like a CD or anything. I mean, even CDs are basically like that now anyway. If you put a CD into a PlayStation or anything like that, it still loads the game onto the console. It's not like on previous consoles where you'd put the CD in and you just play it straight away. You've still got to download parts of the game.
I'm probably too much of a control freak, like when it comes to that stuff, because I know that I remember there was a story. It was like a natural disaster or something that happened. It might have been last year in the States or the year before. And this woman, there's one house in this area that was basically the internet was down for like several weeks, and she had this huge collection of home movies. Oh, sorry, not home movies. Huge collection of movies at home, and everybody on the street and surrounding area were basically borrowing movies from her when they were sitting there with the internet out and everything else. I like the idea of nobody can ban something that you own.
Spot on.
Yeah,
exactly
That's
right.
what I'm thinking.
Yeah,
Or even like
That's it.
change it.
That's exactly what the concern is, Void, because you're right. Not that they will, not that it's a conspiracy, but it's just nice to have the option that if you're completely offline, for whatever reason, you've got physical assets. Like that's how it's been for thousands of years in our society. But all of a sudden now it's, oh no, look, it's more convenient if you just do it this way. Yeah, but I still
Mm.
want the fucking option. I still want the
Yeah.
fucking option. And if I got to pay a couple of bucks more, at least I got the fucking option, you know?
Yeah.
Um,
100%.
yeah. And that's the thing. Like, we, not so much now, they've connected the internet up, but like when I was a young chacker and that, we used to go to like my auntie and uncle's holiday house a lot. And it was virtually off the grid. It's not off the grid anymore, but it was off the grid. There's still places, believe it or not, there's still a lot of places in Australia that are virtually off the grid completely. And, you know, without physical things that they can have, if they're relying on the internet and things like that, their options are pretty stretched, you know? And I know things like Starlink and that exist now, and that's great and whatever, but just knowing that you don't need to rely on that sort of shit is just the main thing. That's where the main issue is. People just do not want to have to rely on somebody else to keep them up and running when it comes to, you know, certain basic things like wanting to watch your favorite TV shows or having a collection of movies and things like that, you know. Kids now, there'd be some kids out there now that have never seen a CD in their life, you know, or
Yep.
like there is a generation of people out there right now that wouldn't even know what the fuck that is.
Or even like a Walkman.
The old Walkman, mate.
Yeah.
The old jittery old Walkman.
Yeah.
Yeah, it used to be if you wanted to listen to a bit of variety if you were walking or away from home, you had to make a mixtape for yourself.
Yep.
Absolutely, mate. Bit of LimeWire action.
Yeah, I can neither confirm nor deny if I use that program.
I still download stuff. Like I'm not a complete like Luddite. Like I still download albums that I want if they're not too important. Like if I want something and I can't be bothered buying the physical copy because it's I'll but if it's something I really want to have, then yeah. But I still do it for little things that I don't care as much about, one way or the other. Like if I just want to hear it or I want to sample it.
Mm.
But I wouldn't put my trust entirely in it, just because like I said before, if at any point it's not even that something could be banned, it might just be we're rotating the content or whatever they're going to do, and we're getting rid of it, you know.
Yeah.
What's that, Ben?
Well, I just don't get why PlayStation are doing it. It's like you just don't change stuff. People like going to the game shop to buy games. It's just ridiculous to change something after you've done it for so long. I don't get it.
Yeah, but that stuff will probably still be the same. As I said, you'll probably still get the physical box. It just won't be a CD. It'll just be a piece of paper that just says, here's your code, put it into the PlayStation Store, and that's it. So there won't be any differences from in terms of you buying a game, going home and playing it. There won't be a difference in that. I mean, to a point outside of obviously like putting in the code and stuff. But from a physical aspect, yeah, obviously that's like a huge deal.
I do,
You know?
Peter. Oh, sorry, Paul. I do. Yeah, I didn't have the internet at home till I was probably 19, 20. So we didn't have it on in the family home. But yeah, dial-up was hilarious, and you were you had to log out of the internet to make a phone call.
Absolutely. And then you felt fancy when those double lines came in. There was a period of time where when dial-up was like, you know, in its infancy, if you had a friend that had like the double line, the two phone numbers to the house, one like for the internet alone and the other just for like your normal phone, you knew that was like a fancy thing, you know. You're like, oh wow, you can still make phone calls while you're on the internet. Oh fuck.
We used to get excited when you'd click on a website and it would just load like a dot printer, like real slow.
Yeah.
line by line, and it was just some GeoCities site. Sean, do you remember? You probably that might have been before your time. But
definitely.
GeoCities was like this. It's like a service where you could make your own website on their server, and it was like real tacky and think of like an old Word document, that kind of thing.
Yeah. It kind of feels like it rings a bell, but I can't like put anything to it. It feels like I should know it.
You could ask Jeeves.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's old school. Yeah, that's old school. Fucking hell. You are showing your age, Void. I think you're like 2 or 3 years older than me, I reckon, judging by your...
The early 40s.
Yeah, there you go. Nailed
it. Oh, gosh. All quaint stuff at this point to think back on that. And you know what's funny? There's like a whole bunch of young people that I see chatting online are all obsessed with that stuff. It's like it's retro.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Gosh. Look, I saw somebody uploaded, it went viral a couple of months ago. Somebody had made an indie video game, like for PC. And the whole thing was like a Sims game, but you owned your own video store from like the 90s and you had to like rent out video. That's the whole game. You're renting out videos and trying to get the store to turn a profit.
Yeah.
I do think that young people like probably it's not that they're obsessed with it because they're just excited by old stuff. I think that there probably is something missing the way we sort of live our lives now. And
Absolutely.
even though they weren't around, they know there's a missing sort of cell somewhere in their body. And they don't understand why playing a game like that makes them feel a certain type of like comfort.
Yeah. I agree with that.
Yeah. Yeah, the vid store was a good. I mean, that was my first job. Was working in and I used to spend all my time in video stores because I was a movie fan. And the exciting part was everybody, what do you want to rent tonight? And everyone went on a family trip to the video store to pick out a movie.
Absolutely, mate. Has to be a weekly though. Has to be a weekly.
So, what was Void like as a salesman? Was he nice to everyone?
Well, they actually hired me because I hung out. My parents used to just drop me off there for hours when I was about 12. And eventually they just said, do you just want to sort of work here a little bit? I knew everything. I knew every movie ever made, like off the top of my head almost. So they said, customers say, "Oh, I'm looking for this movie with this," and I just knew what it was. That's why they let me sort of have it. I was just a runner. I just stacked the shelves and stuff. But,
beautiful, mate.
Yeah. At that time, it was like I thought, I've made it in life.
Yeah.
How long did you
I could
work
actually
for?
see you actually like just like working there and just being like one of the aisles. Someone picks out like a movie and you just sitting there being like, "Great choice, mate. Great choice."
It's just funny because at the time it was like I used to see that like living in a sort of a small town. I used to look at the video store was like Hollywood, you know.
Yeah.
So I'd work there. I'm in Hollywood.
Absolutely, mate. I remember how much of a big deal it was to like, you'd go to the video store and like it used to be an event,
Yeah.
And I remember you'd generally always see someone you knew at our one anyway. You would pretty much always see someone you knew because they would go there around the same time maybe or whatever. And yeah, you'd be spewing if what you sort of had in mind was out of like, they didn't have it in stock or whatever, or they all rented out, and yeah, fuck, it's going back, mate.
It's funny when school
Fuck.
teachers used to come in when I was working there to return an adult movie.
Really interesting.
That doesn't even surprise me.
But what was really funny is the guy who the teacher in question was such a I didn't like him at school, and when he came in and returned it, I thought, oh, even your choice in porn's shit. It's like really this is some vanilla shit.
Fuck hell. Did your video store have like the adult section behind a curtain?
No, they weren't real. They weren't proper X-rated. They were like the edited. They edited them down to R-rated. Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
But it was but see, at the time, that's the other thing guys don't realize. Pre-internet, even just kind of a softcore movie used to. People they used to return them in bags, so people didn't know what they'd hired.
They'd wear the hat down. They'd wear a hat, and they'd wear the hat down.
And the funny things are so tame compared to what you
now. I remember chatting to a guy that used to work at one. He said most of the porn would get returned 2 minutes before closing time. So you just have all the perverts at once come to return the porn. It'd be about 30 seconds before the store shuts. You just get all these perverts come back in.
Well, so they would hire somewhat in the lunch or in lunchtime. They'd come back at 6 o'clock.
Yeah, literally at a point where they just know no one's gonna be there. So it's
here's my return. No, because when I was young, I used to always if I was by myself, that was fine. But when I was young, I used to walk past that section all the time when mum or dad were with me. I'd always try and get a side glance at it because I was too afraid to look directly at it because then they'd be like, what are you looking at?
Bloody hell.
The big title I always remember people would always pick up and laugh at was Edward Penis Hands.
Fucking hell.
Or Beverly Hills Copulator was another one.
What was the other popular one? Debbie Does Dallas?
Yeah. And the Terminator spoof was the Penetrator. It's such an innocent thing now. It's so funny. It was like cheeky. I don't know. They were just silly. They were just they had a sort of a self-awareness about them. They knew they were silly movies, so they just didn't care. And that's, I don't know. It's kind of quaint now, to think about it. Yeah.
Yep.
Sorry for derailing this into the topic it's currently on.
So, Void, how long did you work there for? The video store.
Oh, only a couple of years. Yeah, new management came in. The owner's auntie worked there, and she didn't like me, or something was going on, and they just she didn't like me, so they got rid of me. When they got rid of me, I thought, oh no, my life's over. I thought I'd made it. Then I thought, damn, I'm young and my life's over. I've lost my job. No, it's all good.
So how's Mrs. Void today, Void?
Yeah, she's good. We're just getting dinner sorted at the moment, on and off. But yeah, she'll say hi soon, I'm sure. Waiting for this Fremantle game to start, and I think it's going to start probably at 10:05 tonight at this rate. whenever they have a Perth game, they start late.
Mm. What do you think? What did you all think of Harrison being as an emergency? They didn't have Ryan or West as an emergency.
Yeah, they were just playing funny buggers, it looks like, with the captain's run. But yeah, I mean, I'm still convinced that Ryan's papers are stamped, unfortunately.
Is he actually listed as a emergency? Because I actually didn't get to check that.
Yeah,
No.
Harrison was an emergency with Rowan Steele, and the third one was the third one? Voidoid.
Oh, Lockie Sullivan.
Yeah, Sullivan.
I think Harrison's the carryover because they're managing him. So he's obviously not omitted or anything. So he'll be right. I think he'll come straight back in next week.
Yeah, I feel like
That's what-
in terms of the terminology, they've been very strict on the terminology. You know, if if you managed compared to when you drop, that's literally what's the word? Admitted. That's the language of if you managed, that's basically you dropped, but you're still in their best 23. So when you're ready to go, you'll come straight back in. Where if you're admitted, it's you dropped, and until your form improves, we'll see you till then.
Yeah, and he'd be playing in the VFL if he was dropped.
Mm.
I would have liked Ryan to have got a game, just to give him a game. Like I thought maybe they might have rested Howe and given Ryan a game, but
Well, that's the one thing I don't understand. Sorry, H.
No, you go, Chris.
I was just going to say I didn't get why was Ryan in the captain's run and then he's not in an emergency or on the side. That doesn't make sense. You have him in the captain's run, but you don't play him. That doesn't make sense.
yeah, I can't answer that one.
My assumption is it's just a little bit of funny buggers, or they were concerned like Maynard maybe wasn't going to get through, so maybe they're just like, all right, let's see if let's just get Ryan prepped just in case, but then Bruz is probably fine. Who knows? There could be a multitude of reasons why, but yeah, I think more than likely, one, they're just giving him exposure around more of the senior boys because potentially he's going to get a game soon. So they're just sort of maybe getting him familiar with the environment and the boys and, whatever else. Or plain and simply just playing funny buggers a little bit, which they sort of tend to do. Fly often says he likes being cheeky and that. So, I think he does these things sometimes just as a bit of a laugh for his own amusement.
Would it be a bit of an ambition that they watch us then? Because I know I've been very vocal about Ryan. I wonder if this is like a bit of a, hey, Sean, have a look at Ryan. Have a look at him. He's in the captain's run.
And then you don't pick him.
Yeah.
I think they like to generate a little bit of content. I think that would be the best way to put it. I think they like when, your swoops of the world do training videos, and they like when there's a little bit of that stuff that goes on because it sort of generates
that's a very
more.
good point, actually.
Yeah, as much as they won't like to admit it, they like having eyes on them, with that sort of stuff. They do like it because it just creates content, puts more stuff out there, grows the club overall, gets people talking, gets chins wagging. I think they're very conscious of it. I wouldn't say they watch us, for example, but I think that they like to generate content, put it that way. Talking points.
They're probably also afraid of is Jen her name?
Yeah.
They probably think she's leaking all their secrets to opposition teams on Twitter. So they're starting to train inside a little bit more or in private sessions because they're trying to get a competitive edge.
Yeah.
I don't think it matters that much, to be honest.
It comes back to the facility, though. Like you look
Mm.
at Carlton, they've got the ability to have closed sessions on a full size ground if they like. Hawthorn have got the
Mm.
option to do that if they like. Richmond have the option. Like literally every club has the option of having a fully closed training session if they like. Collingwood are pretty much the only club that doesn't have that option, even if they wanted to. They can call it a closed session, but it's just public land. So you can still bloody
Yeah.
just go there and watch them if you like. There's just a presumption of you're not going to record it and stuff like that. But, you know, who's going to stop you?
No, I've definitely recorded content and it's been in closed sessions.
And yeah, how do you have the ability to have a closed session with an open ground? Like you just can't. So yeah, that's why I think partly a lot of this is they just like generating a bit of content and a bit of you know, that sort of stuff. They like people talking about them, you know, because overall it's good for the club in terms of
Yep.
growth and things like that. Sponsorship, exposure, bloody you name it. It just gives it
Yep.
ticks every box. Because ultimately it's a business. It is football, but it is a business as well. And, you know, a lot of the times people, they don't see the business side of it, but the business side actually probably is the major part of what we're doing here, you know?
Paul's comment. I wonder if they give him a nap time in the afternoon.
I was going to say, what do you all think about Sullivan as an emergency? I didn't really get that. I understand he had a good game in the VFL last week, but I don't think he was going to play. Did you? Any of you think he was going to play this week?
Nah. I don't know what purpose Sullivan serves, and that's not a knock on him because he dominated for a few years in the twos. He earned an AFL list spot. He got a few games. That's great. I don't know what purpose he serves now. Even when he got the game earlier in the year, who was it against, Sean? Who did he play against? Do you recall?
Brisbane.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, it was
Brisbane,
one of the games
you're
early.
right.
It was early this year.
Yeah. So my only thought of him getting that game was they knew they were always going to lose that bloody game, and it was a bit like a throw him in there, see how he goes, maybe. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what purpose he serves unless we've got a million injuries on the list. So, yeah, I would have thought they'd moved past him by now, but clearly not. Clearly not.
Yep.
Yeah, I didn't see the point. Like he to me, he's crossed into that territory where he's how well he plays in the VFL is not to win a senior spot anymore. It's more like it's like with Finn McRae, you know, no matter what he did in the VFL, once they moved past him, he could dominate in the VFL, but it wouldn't matter. I think he's probably at that point. The emergency thing, I don't know. Don't know if we read into it too much. He's not a carryover or anything.
No, that's true. If he was the carryover, that would be something that more of a talking point. But yeah, just one of the two other emergencies. It's a bit like, whatever. Because ultimately,
who's
look,
he pushing out?
play.
Who's he going to push out of the side, really?
No one. Not when we've only got 4 or 5 injuries, you know.
Yeah.
You'd need to be a lot deeper in terms of injuries in specific positions, you know. But yeah.
And Pod probably could have been an emergency, but I'm guessing it's not. He's not a good idea for an emergency because obviously he's mainly playing forward. Who knows?
Yeah, Pod. I don't know. I don't know about Pod. I think they might give him a year. I think. However, I don't know. He's another one. He looked a little bit slow at the AFL level. Maybe his fitness base isn't up there yet or whatever. But yeah, what is he, 28? You're sort of like, is there much? I was excited getting him. I thought, oh, here we go. But then seeing him at the top level, I'm like, I can see why it's taken you 10 years to get on an AFL list. You want to give him every opportunity, but yeah, not sure where he's going to stand.
Yeah, he's just a bit of. He'd only probably come in if Membry wasn't playing. I'm just muting myself here and there while I'm chewing on my loud food.
Beautiful, mate. What are you eating?
Oh, just put a Wonder Pie in the oven.
Oh, look at that.
Chicken and veg pie.
Beautiful, mate. Nice and healthy.
Yeah. What are you? Which one have you got? Beef and
red wine.
beef and red wine. There you go.
Ah, there you go. Now we're talking.
Wonder pies are really good. You know, probably the best quality pie I've had. So if you see them, our local butcher stocks them. So you can see that you get them in a lot of specialty shops around Melbourne.
Yeah, Paul, you're bang on. Paul's comment doesn't have the body. Puncher already does. Pod looks like a suburban body. Yep, that's spot on. That's what I noticed when I saw him play up close. I said, "Oh, you look a little bit unfit's not the word, but he just looks a little bit like you can tell footy hasn't been his number one objective for the last 3 or 4 years. He's probably just gotten through on talent alone. Whereas Puncher, you're right. Puncher looks like the sort of guy that maybe missed out on the draft and then he's just like fucking hitting the gym, all that sort of stuff. Because, yeah, he looks bloody rock solid fit Puncher. He looks like an AFL body. So that's why it's no surprise that he ended up getting a game. Because, yeah, he does. And he held his own, I know it's one game, whatever. But, yeah, like, I don't think he's going to get pushed off the footy that easily. I reckon he's, strong fella. But yeah, Pod looks just that slight bit pudgy. And yeah, 28 years old of age, he doesn't have the years of probably gym work into him as compared to some of the other senior footy guys. So you sort of think, can he even get much better than he is? But yeah, I think he's just all the hallmarks there. He's just like a Membry replacement. If he gets dropped or injured, I think that's pretty fair. Don't know who else he's going to come in for. I think they're going to prioritise Buller over him. So Membry's probably the only one.
He'd get by on his forward craft, maybe. He's got really good forward craft. That probably gets him. He reminds me of Tom Edwards from Essendon. He's another sort of SSP type from one of the state leagues or local leagues, and he's similar. He's kind of, if you just stick him in the forward line, he'll kick 3 goals. That's all he really does. He's not. They've tried to put him in other positions, but if you stick him in the forward line, he just has amazing forward craft.
Mm.
I was hoping with Pod he could eventually be the sort of guy that even if he got 5 looks at goal, but yeah, I don't see him pushing anyone out at the moment, and I also want our team to settle a little bit. So I'd be happy just to leave things as they are for a little bit.
Yeah, that's why I'm concerned about bringing a slow for a quick this week. But again, it should still be enough quality to beat a North Melbourne. However, we've seen the team look better when they opt to go for slightly more leg speed. So, yeah, I don't know. I just, Pendlebury, we're almost past Pendlebury, and I know that's a stupid thing to say, but it's actually a good thing. It's a good thing that we can have a conversation now where we say, is bringing Pendles back in the right thing to do? I don't
Mm.
think up until 6 weeks ago we never would have said that.
Yep.
Now that's actually a legitimate question. Or if you're going to bring Pendles in, you got to sort of make sure you drop a slow instead of a quick, or. So I guess that's one positive because
Yeah.
I think Pendlebury's no longer just an automatic selection. Unfortunately, I think you got to be strategic about the games you play him in or the teammates you surround him with, because he did look really slow. He looked really slow. I don't know how it came across on TV, but yeah, the games I saw him live, he's lost another yard since the record-breaking game.
Yeah.
Like we spoke about it. Like, was that the ultimate? Like, was that the thing that he was just everything was put into that, and then that's it? You drop that 2%, and that's the difference between him being still a very competent player to him being, virtually done. Was that the
Yeah.
point? So, yeah, depending on how the season plays out now, there's going to be big questions asked of these guys at the end of the year now. Like, and Pendlebury's part of that mix.
That's probably like the one thing that I am a bit concerned with the selection is that you have someone like Harrison going out and Pendlebury in. That's a massive difference in speed. The fact that you have Harrison, who was one of our quicker players, coming in, and then Pendles is the one to come in, that just makes our side a lot slower. So, obviously we had a bit of speed going to the last week's game. So I'm just sort of, that's probably going to be something to keep an eye on. Is that with this week, are we going to struggle now because how much of a factor is Harrison for a Pendlebury? When it comes to that pace, because if Pendlebury comes in and I think there was a play we had in Gold Coast. I want to say it was like second quarter, where it was for Allen to Dacos. Who else? Oh, I think Swaddling was a part of it too. And I remember he took a lead, marked it about 40 meters out. If Pendlebury was a part of those chains at any point, that play probably doesn't happen. So, if we're going to be putting ourselves in those situations, I'm just sort of, I don't know, it's sort of like a wait and see, because as good and as experienced as Pendles can be and can probably make it work somehow, it is concerning that we have taken out someone like Harrison with a bit of speed and Pendles isn't. And Pendles isn't quick, so how that looks in terms of us covering the ground, that's going to be a keen watch.
Yeah.
Maybe the tactic is we'll wear them down by putting them to sleep with slow.
It was very obvious, the Richmond game. That was the first time, because you just got a young team who, maybe they don't have a game plan to the same level as obviously the more senior teams do. But a lot of their stuff was just, old school football. Grab the pill, run your 10 meters, give off a handball. And then that player tries to run another 4 or 5 meters and then give off another forward handball. They transitioned about 3 or 4 times really easily from like goal square to forward line shot at goal. And I was sitting at ground level during that game, and a lot of the times you just saw like Sidey and Pendles and that, and they were really flat-footed. And you just saw some of the plays. I'm just like, some of these Richmond players, they've been instructed. They know that they can put the Jets on at certain points and we won't be able to sort of go with them. Obviously, then, disposal lets them down, or kicking efficiency might let them down, or, just general things that younger teams sort of do will let them down. However, it was very clear that Uzaid told them, or whoever, you got to run at these guys. You can break them open if you just take them on. Don't be scared that they're going to close down some of the space. Like, you'll find gaps. So that's my concern. When you got Long, Sidey, Pendles, especially those three, to name them, if you've got them all on the field or all playing in the one game, very hard to plug all the holes. Pendlebury's very flat-footed. Sidey has got the endurance, but he doesn't have the speed anymore. It's just you're relying on just experience with these older guys. But yeah, a Harrison out for a Pendlebury is like a quick for a slow, and I just don't like it.
Yeah.
Yeah. What Paul's saying's true. Pendles probably hasn't played that many outstanding games this year. It's 2 or 3 I can think of. That's about it.
Yeah.
And then the games he is outstanding, it's Anzac Day, which is against Richmond. And I know the lead up to the Essendon game, they did have a little bit of form going into it, but you just had to watch how that game played out, how bad they played. And they also showed no respect to Canterbury as well, which is another factor too. They definitely didn't have anyone on him or didn't pay him any respects, and he did carve them up. But that's the thing, though. It's like
what Paul said, actually, that he seems to only want to play against lower sides this year. He seems to always be rested against good sides or miss against good sides.
Yeah.
Yeah. They know they'll exploit him, mate. That's what it is. They know they'll exploit him. That's the thing, especially with the way the games.
Sorry.
You go, Chris. No, go, mate.
I was just going to say that's where I'm at. I don't think it was a smart decision bringing Pendlebury back. Harrison played his best game for us last week. And then what? Think about it. You're playing North Melbourne, who are a young, quick team. And then you're bringing back Pendlebury. And you've got Sidebottom, 2 of our slowest people in our side. And then what? You think that's going to be – we might lose because we've got Pendlebury and Sidebottom in the team. You should have kept Harrison and had no changes this week. It does. I don't know. I say it all the time. Fly does not have selection integrity. To drop a Harrison, who played his best game last week, is ridiculous. I don't understand this guy, why he makes these moves this time. You go, H.
Well, in terms of the Harrison part, like it is at Marvel. Like, this is as critical as I've been of Fly. I can at least understand the reasoning, and it's probably one of the things which is about fucking time, is that I can understand it, but I can also agree with it. A lot of the times I can understand the paths he's gone down, but then I wouldn't agree with it. This one I can actually agree with. Like, we don't need Harrison to be playing this week. As much as it would be good for continuity, but if Marvel is, a ground where it is prone to injuries and Harrison is coming off an ACL, this is one of those ones where it's like what's the saying? Like, sort of like, at the end of the day, it's just not worth the risk. Like, it's
spot on.
like if Harrison was the one to play this week and he was to go down, heaven forbid, with another ACL, are we not going to be sitting here being like, oh my God, Harrison's coming off an ACL, and you knew the deck at Marvel was so hard, and you knew that injuries were bound to happen, and with Harrison being so fresh off it. So, Harrison, as much as he is a bit of a loss, and the fact that it just sucked that he played so well the week before, this is one of those ones where I can understand why they did it, but I also agree with it. So as much as I've, not been so positive with some of the choices that the club has made, it's also got to go back the other way when they do make a good choice. I think they did make a good choice here, because at the end of the day, I would rather sacrifice a Harrison game, albeit, it's not great that Pendlebury's the one that comes in, because that does make us look a lot slower. But this is more about looking after Harrison rather than looking after Pendlebury. So I'm sort of okay with the admission of Harrison. And then if you're going to drop someone needs to come in,
Yeah.
It needed to be Pendles for Sidey. I think that the only way it works is if those two play 1 week, one off, and then they switch each week. One has 1 week off, one has 1 week on.
It's probably not going to happen, but the only way that I would be happy with this call is if you just throw the toys out the cot and go, nah, side bottom's our forward pocket for the rest of the season. If he's to play in the forward pocket for the rest of the year, I can sort of sleep a bit easier on that call, because then it's okay. Because I mean, how many times have we had people? Because I know I've been saying it for years to make side bottom, play in the forward pocket, sort of because with his forward craft, if he was a permanent forward, he'd be kicking 30, 40 goals every year. His forward craft is so underrated, it's not even funny. But for some reason, we just don't have him in the forward line. Like I'm not going to say, he's just like utterly useless, because, he does have some ability, albeit there's not much left in the tank. But, I just don't understand why we just don't chuck him in the forward pocket. And even if he does get, say, 2 or 3 minutes every quarter, you throw him on a wing, or even if you do have him as an extra down back just for a bit of extra support. But the fact that he's not, playing 90% of his time in the forward line, it's just beyond me on why we're not doing that. Because for a guy of his talents, and then also showing guys like your Harrisons and these guys, teaching them a bit of like forward craft and actually showing them by doing it himself. I just don't understand why we're not even taking that opportunity.
Yep. Oh, well, look, the important thing is he's managed, so we know that next week he'll come back in. Like I said, I think we should be winning this game, really, no matter who we put out on the park. However, in the worst case scenario, we lose and we look super slow, I think it'll be pretty much a universal view from most Collingwood fans that, the old and slow model might be done. I in theory, I get it, because they know that come finals, that quick run and gun game doesn't hold up, and the more contest based stuff sort of ends up favouring, I guess, that the teams that sort of favour the contest tend to be better prepared for finals. So I get it from that aspect. However, while the game's still run and gun and there's a few young teams with a bit of zip about them, I think it's very risky to sort of go in a little bit too slow. And like you said, if you had to drop Harrison to give him a rest, that's fine. You're just going to have to cop it. But yeah, could have moved some more magnets around, You could have maybe bought in Hayes if he's ready for like Harrison, and then bring in a Pendles in for Sidey or Long, like something like that. Then I would have been like, yeah, yep, that all makes perfect sense. But yeah, I don't know. I just don't like removing speed out of a team that's already a little bit slow.
Yeah,
It just
100%.
seems like, yeah, that's the thing. If you injected some more pace, okay, that's fine. But yeah, I don't know. It is what it is, really. Again, we got no excuses.
About his body, because it hasn't been. He's starting to get some niggles. So it would probably piss me off if he plays and then he goes down in the first quarter or something.
Yeah, well, I guess we just have to wait and see.
I didn't think they needed to hurry him back in either.
I mean, he's obviously highly valued internally. Otherwise, they wouldn't have rushed him back. So, if there's any positives to take out of it, there is that. But
I think he had a big hand in us winning even last week. Just from his role on the sidelines, he looked very busy.
Yeah.
Sidey's got the football IQ. He's never going to lose that.
Yeah.
It's just too bad that he can't get his legs to do what we want them to do. But yeah, Look, it's not terrible as long as Pendles and Sidey, maybe as long as they're both not on the ground at the same time. That might work.
Yeah. That's the other alternative. You're only playing Pendles 55% game time or something, and Sidey maybe 70. That's the other alternative. You just really sort of manage them through the game in terms of make sure they're not on the field for more than, I don't know, 30-40% of the game, something like that. That's an option because we've seen him do it with Pendles in the past, so don't be surprised if he only plays like a 55-60% game or something.
I'm just glad they didn't drop Puncher, they didn't drop Swadling, they didn't drop Anderson. Like, you could take the wins where you can get them.
Yeah, probably the first week, no one's really been outraged. You can disagree with the decision, but no one's outraged this week, I don't think. Which we've just become accustomed to. I think Sean mentioned it last week or the week before. Like, I used to get anxiety about selection night because it was just so fucking diabolical some weeks, But it seems like finally maybe the squad's settled and he's introduced a bit of youth and they're keeping their spot, they're holding their spots. So that's all I give a fuck about. Because I was really, really getting worried that he was going to rest Swadling. I was really going to get my fucking. I was going to be really upset if that happened. But no, good. Holds his spot for another week. Great. As long as he's fit enough to play out the games, he should be playing every single week. No questions asked. Even a 10-possession game, 8-possession game, forgive game, let him do it for a month and then consider dropping him. You gave Roan Steele a lot of opportunities. You got to extend the same thing to Anderson. You got to extend the same thing to Swadling, Will Hayes when he eventually comes back in, Harvey Harrison. He gave ample opportunity to. You just have to, mate. Like, that's just non-negotiable. If they have 5 or 6 weeks where they're really poor, like Roan Steele, he had a few poor weeks. All right, no dramas. You take a rest. Not after 1 or 2 poor performances, especially if they're the right age bracket, But yep, Ed Allen, absolute lock. Anderson, very close to, pretty much being. I know he's still fringe play, but he's very close to being pretty much full time as of next year, I reckon. At least we've found some. Will Hayes, pretty much a lock. Like, it's good because this is the thing I was most worried about at the start of the year. I said, are these guys going to get proper opportunities in the ones? Are they going to get proper, not just 1 or 2 weeks out you go? Are they going to get given proper opportunity? And it looks like finally it's tipped in that direction. And like I said, if we start winning bloody games with these guys in the team, mate, people very quickly, they forget about your side bottoms and they forget about your Pendlebury's because you're not worried anymore. The baton's been passed, 2010, I reference it all the time. Unlucky for a lot of those guys, but the baton got passed, the torch got passed, and that was it. Those guys have done their duties, champions of Collingwood, but you've been overtaken. Simple. We're very close to that with Pendlebury and Sidey. Simple as that. 2 absolute champions, Hall of Famers, but most likely the end. Simple.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, our team's getting closer to being. The last few weeks, it's like you'd be nitpicking to crack the shits about anything now because I feel like it's taking shape.
Yeah.
And that was pretty much the difference between the bad and the good is really narrowed to almost nothing now. So that's a good thing. These guys are like, and it's like you said before, if they're getting wins on the board, I think Fly moves on pretty quick. Like, I think he does with him. It's like I get the feeling it's like you've got like a blanket as a little kid or something like that, and it's not gonna. The world won't end if you have to give it up if someone takes it away from you. And I think it's kind of like that. He just can't imagine these guys not in the side, and then once he sees what the side looks like without them, then he quickly adapts to it.
Spot on, Void. And the supporters do as well. Because the supporters say, oh, hang on, we're winning without these guys. Or, hang on, they were our worst players on the night. And that's the reality, mate. The team has to transition. Part of the AFL football landscape is there is a use-by date on every player. And you can choose to ignore it, or you can choose to be fair dinkum about it and really be critical and say, okay, what has he actually given us? And again, I'm probably guilty of it, going really hard early to mid stages of the year, going really hard on him, being smarter about his choices when it comes to these guys. But my inkling is I think he's maybe figured it out. It was just getting Pendles to that milestone, and that was it. Things might have changed. So I just don't know. The real test is going to be when Sidey has his next shocker. If he gets carried, or if he does also, sort of get rested or managed or even omitted. That'll be the next test, really, because he's got to be on a fine line. I know he's been better the last couple of weeks. He has to be on a very fine line with the coach.
That's what Simo was saying in that SEN interview. He was saying that he thinks that we're really well coached, but he said his big criticism is he thinks that we dropped a couple of winnable games because of managing Pendles. That we should probably have about 2 extra wins on the board, and we didn't handle that. That wasn't handled very well at all, which we all knew at the time. That's what put me off the milestone game a little bit. So I just started to feel like we weren't prioritising winning or prioritising management for that, event. And it is about winning games at the end of the day.
Yeah.
And he should have played against, not that we might have needed him anyway, but just the look of it. The look of it was, no, guys, I want to play against Sydney and Hawthorn, not saving myself for Essendon and West Coast.
Yeah. I wonder if the Sydney game wasn't interstate, I think we all know he would have played. Even, I just don't know. I think that was a big, it was a noose around our necks a bit, just trying to manage that situation well. But in the end, we pretty much botched it, didn't we? Really? It was great, massive crowd at the G, but it was a bit of a botched job in the end. But definitely, when you have a few close losses in the year, you sort of go back to what could have been, what should have been, But I just feel like finally the balance might be right now. That's all. Albeit, got to see how they perform tomorrow night. But
yeah, those are my thoughts too. If we can turn it around now, then that's all you can do. We can't do anything about any poor decisions in the past, and
Paul references the Freo game. I think that's the one that hurts. I think he's right there. The others, you're sort of like, bit of luck here, bit of luck there. The Freo game's the one that stings a little bit.
Yeah, I don't think it cost us necessarily what Josh. I don't think it necessarily cost us. It's more the look probably going into the games more than the result. Those were the two challenges we had, and it felt like he was going to really come guns blazing on Anzac Day, and then again, against West Coast, and then probably Carlton the week before the Essendon game, and and it just felt like the priorities were the wrong way around a little bit. It might not have. It might have actually made us lose worse if he played. For all we know, it's mostly the optics of it. I think.
Yes, I think so. I don't think Pendle's playing gets us over the line against Hawthorn, put it that way. I think, yeah. Look, ultimately, they were quite inaccurate on the night. We were super efficient. Who knows, with Pendles in the team, are we that efficient? Like, the ball movement was pretty good that night. We were scoring every time we bloody went inside 50, it felt like. You just sort of think, Pendles playing that game, does that get us over the line? I don't think so. But yeah, the optics are important. That's the thing.
Yeah, because going into a game, I mean, you don't know what the result's going to be, but you decided ahead of time that you were going to, be rested or managed during playing against the top side, and we almost won it without him. So that's great. But the thing is, too, you got to be careful what games you miss, because you also might start demonstrating that you're no longer integral either, if the team can sort of get it done without you.
Well, that's the question I was going to ask. If we get Lockie Neal next year, do you think Pendlebury stays on next year?
I think it might be it for him, Chris.
Mm.
I think it might be it for him. I think what Ben said's correct. Unless you're going to play him against the 12 best teams in the comp, what's the point of having him just to play against, lesser opposition? I don't know. I can't see another 6 months or 9 months when we go into round 1 next year. Like, it's a long way back, and you're not going to find the speed anymore. And if he's starting to get caught now, I don't think that'll get any better between now and March next year. I don't know. I think they've got to be very, very. Look, he might know himself. Pendles might know himself. You just don't know. He might think, "Oh, I've lost another yard here, and I no longer have that evasiveness I used to." He himself could know that. There could be a thing of, once he knows Lockie Neal's in, he knows the club's in good hands. Another senior figure there. Who knows? There could be a multitude of scenarios that happen. But I can pretty much guarantee, if we get Neal in and we somehow manage to get Butters to choose us, Pendles has no chance of getting a game next year. I don't think. So, who knows? Who knows? There's just so much stuff up in the air in terms of what we're going to do with the list and things like that. You just don't know. My gut says, if I was in charge, I'd be telling him that, look, we've noticed a big drop off. Could be it for you, mate.
Yeah. I could see. I just think he should, if he is going to be in the side, I'd just like to see him maybe play, in the back line or something. Not going in the midfield where he's got to, going to get caught for pace a little bit. I feel like if he does the kick-ins or something like that, give him more of a defined role. Thing is, this year when we were struggling, we'd always chuck him in the middle to help us out. But now I feel like the midfield doesn't really need him the way they did.
Yeah. He's a bit of a victim of the way the game's been played this year as well, mind you. The formula that seems to be winning games does not favour a Pendlebury at all. However, you're right. You could probably plug and play him off a halfback or something, and he's probably going to be awesome back there. But again, it comes back to the point of, well, if he can only play bloody 10 games in the year, is he really helping you? Like, I don't know. The calf injury is a concern. The old man injury, that's a concern. I don't know. Just a lot more questions and answers right now, that's all. And once the questions start coming, it could just be easier to call it a day. And I don't think the club, who said it, did Stefanos say it? Where was it? Sorry, Josh Jacobs. If Pendles is happy to cover injuries next year and not best 23 and coach next year, he should stay. Yeah. that would be awesome. But I don't think. I think it's similar to the Mason Cox thing, where if he's on the list, he's going to play him. I think it's just too tempting to not play him. So, yeah, in theory, that sounds good. I would love him
My
to be in the
question-
club and only play a few games, but I can't see it happening.
My question would be, if Pendle stays on, and I'll ask you all this question. If he stays on, how many more games would you give him next year if he stays next year?
I want him to play all of them if he could. I wouldn't want him to only play a dozen, unless it's some kind of like who put it up? Was it Josh? Yeah, if he was sort of a coaching role and part-time play, maybe, but I don't know. Depends it depends how many pieces you want to move around just to keep him in the side as well. I'm just watching this game. You see, Freo got a kick. Sydney got a goal because after that, Chad Warner kicked it behind. The Freo player rubbed him on the head, and they umpire paid a free.
Because
So
it
just
looks
doing
like
that.
to me, Pendles can't play all the games then. Because look how many games they've rested him this year. Would you be okay, Void, if they were managing him next year, like they're doing it this year?
Well, it's exactly what
Probably not.
we were saying before. If we get Neil and Butters, does
Yeah.
Pendles get any minutes? Because at that point, it's like you're just wasting a list spot at that point. You know, you might as well,
It
draft a
depends if
kid.
he's like Hal. If he's like Hal, like last year, we thought Hal was cooked, and just turns out it might have just been an off year with some injuries. It depends if his injuries are like if he's going to recover from them, or if it's just time catching up with him. So we don't really know in the past few weeks if he's getting carbs, if he's getting stuff like that, then that you're not really going to be able to play anymore. Just depends. But you've got to eventually move on. I mean, I know there's no harm keeping him on the list, but also it is a list spot. So you've got to work out if you're going to take the list spot seriously. Must you have him? Could he just stay on as a coach instead? Because when you're bringing in two other people, if you keep him on the list as well, then it's probably just another kid that doesn't have a spot on the list to develop.
Yeah, I'm sort of going in, and this is just me personally. I'm just going in with the mindset that Pennebury is just going to retire at the end of the year, and then if anything changes, then at least it'll be a good surprise if he stays on or if there's an actual role for him. Because again, when it comes to Butters, when it comes to Neil, I mean, you could create a narrative. Okay, Pennebury could be good injury depth. I mean, but would Pendles even want that? And then the other thing that we seem to keep mentioning as well, because it keeps being a very good point, is that if Pennebury is on the list, is Fly going to play him like he is ready to go every week? Is this going to be like a Mason Cox type of situation where it doesn't necessarily matter on form? Pennebury is just going to play anyway.
Yeah.
So then, again, it's like if Pennebury plays and you've got Butters, you've got Neil, I don't want that to be at the expense of someone like Anderson.
Yeah.
And then if you've got Neil, Butters, Pennebury, Long, yes, you've got all those guys in, and that's great. But if Long and Pennebury are getting games in front of someone like an Anderson, I feel like that's a pretty big problem.
And just a reminder, when Mick's got a couple of his North Melbourne, very hardcore North Melbourne supporters on the stream, just bring up Pendle's record a lot. Really seems to piss North Melbourne people off for some unknown reason.
Well, it's because of Boomer, because that was one of their claim to fames.
And then they'll say that we carried him to his record, that he didn't deserve it.
We could say it the same way. With it, like with Membry, is he keeping West out of the side if you keep him on next year?
I don't think so with him. I mean, look, I think Membry's because we don't have Jamie Elliott anymore. We won't have him for most of next. So, like, if Elliott didn't get injured, I reckon Membry might have been. They might have let him go. I reckon now that Elliott's not playing, they might give Membry another year. As it won't hurt to keep him there, even to play some VFL football if he's not performing. Backup. I don't think he's really in the way of West. I mean, maybe they're sort of different.
It's kind of hard though, because like when it comes to guys that in their first, say, like within 10 games, it's sort of hard to get a gauge of where they are. And the fact that because with someone like West, like he's getting, say, like 2 games here, 2 games there, it's not really a big enough sample size. And and I think all it takes is like 1 game for him to, even if it is against, say, a West Coast or something. I know we got West Coast up in a few weeks, but like even if it is against a West Coast and he keeps 5 or 6, you just need that game out of him. Like especially when it comes to, like, say, a bottom 16, I feel like you should even like get him in the side, but also make him like the main target, just about, hey, if we really like you and we really want to back you in, we're going to make you the main target. So even if it's a 50-50, always go West. Because it's, again, I keep harping on like the mental and emotional aspect of, just football in general, and like players when they go through the emotions for their careers. Like you just need certain things to go your way to make you go, okay, now I belong at this level. And even if it is 5 or 6 goals against the West Coast, like, we just need to make that happen for him, regardless if it's, the best 5 or 6 goals he's seen or the worst 5 or 6 goals that, we've seen. It's the fact that he's kicking 5, 6 goals against someone, and if we get his confidence sky high, even if it is with a touch of arrogance, like, we need to do something in that realm.
But you're
All
right,
right, guys.
We're moving over.
Yeah, sorry, Void. Sorry. Yep,
Moving
guys.
over.
Yep. Everyone, most of the people in this chat are obviously familiar with Mick's stream, the Magpie Army Chronicles. I've put a link in the chat if anyone would like to join us over there. Remember, comment, like, subscribe, all the good stuff for Matt's stream here at the Warble, and also give some love to Mick's stream as well. That stuff goes a long way, helping Matt and Mick grow, and keeping the community thriving and stuff like that. So with that, Matt's in the background somewhere. He's going to shut us down, but everyone please like and subscribe, and we'll head over to Mick's. Good night, everybody.
All right, I'll see you
Nice.
all on Mick's stream. See yous.